got a big NBA slate on the card today, and we need it because we got some units to get back from the last couple of days. Monday, Tuesday, treating us rough to start this week. Things were absolutely red hot heading up to this point, and we're due for a little bit of regression, but I think we're tired of regressing already. Let's try to head back the other way today, John. Even the World Series game last night, just absolute blowout out the gate for us. It was 10-0 in a blink of an eye, so a little bit of a rough Tuesday, but hey, starting November now, and 6 straight profitable months. Let's go for number 7, John.
Yeah. Unfortunately, October goes out real bad. 7 straight losing bets, 4 on Monday, 3 on Tuesday, and you'll never hear nothing except the most transparent guys here when we talk. And again, I know you guys, especially if you put money on these games, you don't want to hear it, but you are on the right sides. And we get the question all the time, John, they lost. How could they be the right sides? They're the right sides because we laid Arizona Diamondbacks minus 105. And when the first pitch was thrown, they were anywhere from a minus 117 to a minus 119 favorite. Again, that's the right side. Follow the money. Forget everything else. Follow the money. The shops were all over the Diamondbacks, and we got our ass kicked in that game. We'll take the beat down. Phoenix Suns, me and Ben were just talking about the game. So if you guys were here yesterday, I don't know if I said it on here or on Instagram, but I told everybody that I'd be going out for dinner and leave the short schedule in the capable hands of Ben. Enjoyed myself, had a nice glass of wine, came home. So we had a 19-point lead or so in the Suns game around halftime. A little off to a nice start with the Clipper lead. Went to bed. When I got up to take a pee at 4 in the morning, I saw we lost both games, and I just couldn't believe it. But this is the run you get in when you run in bed, and we're running ice cold right now. So we'll try to turn it around. But again, Clippers right side of the shops. We talked about phoning it. What that means, they pushed the line one way so they could come back and take a better number. They did that last night. Yesterday morning, we took 7.5 with the Clippers. That game closed 6.5. We're on the right side at the right number. Just don't get the money. We did it again yesterday, but a couple of days ahead of time. A game ahead, a couple of games a day ahead of time. And we'll talk more about them. Obviously, we've got the best of the number again. Still got to win the game. I understand that, guys. Yep. We're a week into the NBA season. If you're going to jump ship now, you're going to miss all the gravy. You don't want to be there for the funeral and not be there for the wedding, and the wedding's about to start.
Yep, wedding's about to start, and we can start breaking down some of these games going on today. Before we dive into the massive NBA card, we got this World Series Game 5 going on. Do we wrap it up tonight? Does Texas complete the 11-game road sweep of the postseason? 10-0 after last night's win. Eovaldi versus Gallen tonight. Gallen, not the best in the playoffs. 5+ ERA, was better in game 1 here of the World Series. 3 runs in 5 innings. That was at Texas. And as bad as he's been in the playoffs, the majority of his starts have been on the road. 4 of his 5 starts. He's a much better pitcher at home. So we'll see if we get that tonight. Meanwhile, Eovaldi, who's been cruising in the playoffs, had his worst start of the postseason against Arizona in game 1. Roughed up for 5 runs in 4 2/3. Garcia out for the series. Scherzer out for the series. I mean, Texas getting all the bad news, and they just responded by putting up double-digit runs last night. Does Arizona have a response? Do they steal at least one game at home in the World Series? That would have to be where the thought's at. Can Gallen come up with a gem? I mean, really, this whole postseason run, he was decent in the wild card, decent in the NLDS, but nothing specific, nothing spectacular. Are we going to see him at least give them one ace-like start here in the World Series? We'll see if we get that today. Do or die time at home? Will there be a lean to the D-backs? Maybe Texas thinking about closing this thing out at home. But, man, 10-0 on the road. They just keep getting it done, John.
Tough to go against Texas after that assault last night.
Yeah.
Look, that was a bullpen game. Galen, not a bullpen pitcher, especially at home. Again, we were on the right side there. We knew pretty much Garcia was going to be out of the lineup, and even if he was in the lineup, just not going to be effective. So he's already out for the remainder of the series, as is Scherzer. They've been taken off the World Series roster. You take that big bat out, but they still come up with 10. Going to be a different story today. Galen was a monster at home all year. 12-4. What was it? 2.45 ERA, something like that, in 16 home starts. So, again, different pitcher at home. Don't think they'll have the same luck today. But can Arizona get on the board? They've just been having problems, especially at home, the whole postseason. They've been getting their wins, but they've been those low-scoring games. Can Galen keep this team down? Look, besides Garcia, who's just been an absolute monster, I got a guy named Seager that's been another monster in there. 3 homers in this series, 6 in the postseason. If the price is right, look, it's Arizona or nobody. If the price is right, still got to give Galen the pitching advantage over Eovaldi. Arizona right now matching up a little bit better without Garcia in the lineup. Like I'm saying, look, this team was dead last night, and they showed something. They fought back, scored 7 runs in the late innings. So I don't think you could throw the dirt on Arizona yet. It just all depends on the price. Got to be worth it to me, but still, it's Arizona or nobody.
Yep, absolutely. We'll see if we get a game 6 there. We'll see what happens in game 5 tonight. And we have a big NBA card we can start diving into. This first one, a couple of bottom feeder teams here. Blazers taking a trip to Detroit. This Portland team get their first win. They're in the third city in 4 nights. They get a 99-91 win at Toronto on Monday. Ayton still not scoring too much, but had 23 boards. And they held the Raptors to just 4 of 29 from 3. Brutal. And then you have this Pistons team coming off a tough loss to OKC. They've been doing it as a collective group. One of the main names, Jalen Duren, he's questionable. Obviously want him in the lineup. He's been having a big presence in the paint. Portland has owned this matchup, and that's where this gets weird. Because my lean on this game is Pistons. I need to see what's going on with Duren and the ownership here. I mean, obviously, this is a completely different Portland team. No more Lillard, obviously. No more Nurkic. So, yes, Portland owns them. Yes, the trend's still in their favor, but handful of guys, and I don't know what the only guy there, Simons, he's not even playing right now. So very different Portland team. Trend still favors them. Just take it with a grain of salt. Lean here to Pistons in this matchup. I want Duren in the game though.
Yeah, I don't see any value in this game. Pistons were looking good, but what did they looked good against? They looked good winning at Charlotte. Charlotte doesn't look like they're a great team. Nope. Pistons went to OKC, kind of got their tails beat off. Portland showed up a little look. I didn't think Portland was going to be as bad as they were the first few games. Looks like they needed a couple of things to put it together, get a couple of games under their belt. Yeah. Looked a little better now. Go up to Toronto. There's a game that we laid Toronto -7. The game closed 10. And Portland wins it straight up on the road. So they build a little momentum there. They've won in Detroit. They've beaten Detroit in the past. Yes, different team. But I'm not ready to go lay points with Detroit, especially with Duren questionable. Cunningham hasn't been going crazy. He had that one good game. I believe that's the second game of the season. Hasn't been going great since then. So let's see. Can he get back on track against Portland? But a game that I'm not ready to jump in. If there's no Duren, the line is right where it's at right now. 4 points. That's the right number.
And we had the Bucks at Toronto. This Milwaukee team coming off getting their playoff revenge against Miami. Took care of business there. Defense, though, looking a little bit suspect to start the season. Obviously, the loss of Drew Holiday plays part in that. Then you have this Toronto team who coming off that loss to Portland, and they could not hit a 3. They went 4 for 29 in that, like we just mentioned. And they have now dropped 3 straight. So what's going on with this Raptors team? Really 2 different play styles going on right now. Toronto playing pretty slow. They're scoring under 100 points per game, but they're allowing just 102. Milwaukee, the opposite, up-tempo, and they're giving up almost 120 a game. So Toronto, all defense, no offense. Bucks, all offense, no defense. This is a weird little matchup history. A little bit of success here for Toronto. Nothing too crazy as far as against the spread. Bucks did win 3 of 4 last year. Slightly into the home dog in this one, but really, I think that last game there for the Bucks, they had to get that one out of the way. Obviously, there was a lot of news around the offseason of Damian Lillard being traded to Miami. Obviously, there's a playoff revenge factor. I think having that as the third game in their schedule, a little bit of a circle early on, and now we're about to see a bit more of a focused Bucks team moving forward. So, interested to see what that looks like. Slightly into the home dog here. Like I said, getting them done with the defense. Can they keep this one close too, John?
Yeah, lean to the home dog. Toronto was a good team at home last year. We were on Toronto in the first game, but that was against Minnesota, a team that they had absolutely owned,
Yep.
especially in Toronto. I think they beat them 18 of the last 19 meetings in Toronto. Milwaukee, let's see what they do here. After winning a close game against 76ers at home, they have their fall-down game just prior to playing Miami. Then have a huge lead on Miami. They almost let Miami catch the backdoor, go up to Toronto. They've had success against Toronto. Lillard's got to get hot because he gave up a lot of defense. You give up a lot of defense when you went from Holiday to Lillard. So Lillard has got to score points for them. I need a little bit more of a number here, but it's Toronto. Toronto, to me, it would be worth taking plus the 6 at home. That number was 5.5 early. They took it already down to 5. I don't figure it to see it to go back to that number, so it'd probably be another game I stay off. But again, home dog or nobody.
Then we have Pelicans at OKC. Obviously, Pelicans let us down the other night as far as Ingram being a late scratch. He's still questionable tonight. See what's going on with him. Did we just miss something there, John?
Yeah, I've seen the fucking Clipper line move against us, so I'm going to guess that these cocksuckers are sitting out. This fucking NBA, these punk motherfucking basketball players can't play 2 games in a row. Can't believe in my lifetime, a guy's getting paid $40 million fucking dollars, can't play 2 games in a row. So seeing the Laker games go to 6.5 and 7 already, we already sent out plus 6, guys. Terrible. We'll get down to that game later, but I'm about to fucking bust a fucking hole in the wall. Motherfucker!
Yeah, ridiculous with this early on in the season. And against the Lakers, too. I mean, you put that in the preview just as far as you don't think they sit against the Lakers as they shouldn't. They shouldn't sit in the Battle of LA.
Unfucking real. Yeah, let's go to the next game. We'll get there in a sec. What a fucking son.
Yeah, Pelicans at OKC. It's Ingram waiting on him. Obviously, he was a late scratch the other night, questionable currently. Then you have this OKC team bounce back against Detroit. They're now 3-1 straight up and against the spread. They met in the play-in last year. You had the Pelicans win 2 games at OKC last season. A little bit of a play-in revenge. Spots all Pelicans, but said the other day, when healthy, I have this team the second best team in the West. We already saw Ingram with the scratch, so need him in there. It's a different team without him. They're very shorthanded on that bench right now without him.
Yeah, Ingram, this is an automatic play for me for New Orleans, but I don't think he's going to play. Missed the last game. He was a real late scratch in that game. Again, guys, sorry for the outroar. We are only as good as our information. So this game takes us, this information, Ingram takes us back to the other day. The NBA teams are supposed to let you know, even if there's a question mark, there's certain things that they have to follow. Not just say a guy's not playing 45 minutes before the game time, and that's what happened with Ingram. We made that a 5-unit bet. So I'm going to say he's probably to the doubtful side today as compared to questionable. If he was to play, this would be a no-brainer. Would be all over this game. Pelicans owe them a little bit for a little play-in. They got knocked out in the play-in at home. Pelicans won both games at OKC last year. So I would like the Pelicans plus the points in this one with Ingram in. If he's not, that's what to me, the line is made with Ingram out.
Yeah, for some of these, new age big men like Holmgren, Wembanyama, Zion has to be the complete nightmare for them, just as far as a complete big body that could cause problems. So we'll see if that's literally how Holmgren got hurt trying to guard LeBron. So we'll see if that affects that. We'll update you guys on our members on the website and the app with the injury updates. Then we have Wizards at Atlanta. Gafford questionable. Trae Young, he was having some issues. You have this DeJounte Murray coming off a big 41-point game there in the last one. Wizards, they just got crushed by Boston. No surprise there. As far as the matchup history, Hawks, a lot of success. Won 9 of the last 11 meetings, 6 of the last 7 in Atlanta. But the spread, nothing too crazy. It's 4-3 against the spread in those 7 meetings in Atlanta. And a lot of over trends here. 3 of the last 4 meetings have gone over. 2 of Wizards 3 went over, and 2 of Hawks last 3 went over. Would be over or nothing for me on this game. And we've seen what this Wizards team is giving up defensively. And we see the Hawks tend to play a little bit more up-tempo with these kind of teams, try to outscore them, not try to bring in the defensive play. So lean to the over more than anything in this Hawks-Wizards matchup.
Okay, Ben, I'm trying to get doing a million things at once. So tell me, where are we? Which game are we at? Wizards and Hawks?
Yeah, Wizards and Hawks.
If Trae Young could get it going, they'll be on par. Off to a terrible start so far. Trae Young, DeJounte Murray picked up the pace in his last game, shot the lights out. Hawks' last 2 games look real good. Going in to beat the Bucks, bury the Bucks pretty much at Milwaukee. I do think Bucks had their eye on their next coming game, which was the playoff revenge game, and then they come back home to take care of business against the Timberwolves. Here's another game. They've owned the Wizards. Wizards are a horrible team. They'll just name the number with Trae Young. If we knew he was going to be in yesterday, we would lay a cheaper number. Now the number at 8.5, 9. I'm mixing even a little higher than that, 9, 9.5. But yeah, it's Hawks or nobody, but the number is gone already.
And we have Cavaliers at the Knicks. Obviously, they played last night. Knicks crushed them. This Cavs team depleted right now. No Garland, Allen, LeVert, or Jerome last night. Mitchell returned. We'll see if any of those guys come back today. Another under game last night. Has to try with this matchup. 6 straight under games. And one thing that caught my eye watching this game yesterday, Reggie Miller was talking about it. And no, sorry, not Reggie. Who was it? It was Van Gundy. One of the guys on the broadcast talking about how the thing that helps the coaches the most in these matchups when you go, back to back, home and home, same night, Cavs, Knicks, that it helps the assistant coaches more. It's a lot less prep for this game. So for the following game, those assistant coaches a lot more prepped up on their game prep for the next matchup. So that's going to be something we're looking at a little bit more this year, just if there's any trend with that at all. As far as, the coming out of this game, Cavs, Knicks, because their coaches are already prepped up for the second night of this event, how things go for game 2. But yeah, this game's under or nothing, John.
Yeah, we jumped on that first thing this morning. As I said, I believe it's the last 6 meetings have gone under. I don't know if you gave the stats again. I'm trying to do 10 different things here at once. None of those 6 have gone over 201. Forget about 210. And in their last 9 meetings, only 1 game has gone higher than 208. These teams just play defense. We're on the under on this one, even if they get some guys back. Cleveland still like the under in this one. Randall still can't throw the ball in the ocean. Brunson a little bit better last night, but yeah, it's all about the under in this one. The line at 6.5. That line at 6.5 is with everybody besides Mitchell out. If they were to get some healthy bodies, Garland was to come back or something, line's got to be less than that. We would lean to Cleveland in that game. Remember, this is playoff revenge, but Knicks have won 8 of the last 10 meetings, including the playoffs.
We have Pacers at Boston. Big number on this game. Waiting to see what's going on with Halliburton. He is worth a lot to this number. Leads the team in points and assists. He's questionable. Mathurin and Smith also both questionable. So hard to really go too much further on this game without that information. Weird matchup history. Typically some big numbers here. Boston's had success as far as winning 1-3 the last 5, but Pacers, they cover. They've covered 4 of the last 5 meetings. They've covered 3 of the last 4 trips to Boston. Want Halliburton in this matchup. If he's in, it's almost a no-brainer here to see if you can get a big dog price with the Pacers. I have to see, though, what's going on with him. Another little bit of an overlean. And this Boston team just really short-handed on the bench. Last to start the season, their bench is just averaging 15 points a game. That's going to make it tough covering some of these big numbers. Once they get big leads, it's going to make it tough to hold on to those big leads.
Well, we said that exact same thing against the Wizards, and they just went and destroyed the Wizards. Yeah. But I don't think Indiana will give up a fight, not like Washington. But they need it's not only Halliburton, it's Mathurin and Jabari Smith. So we got to get that info. But yeah, the one of the thinnest, if not the thinnest teams with no bench. Yeah, they sold out and have one of, if not the best starting 5. But there's no bench there. Going to be tough on games that guys are going to sit or back-to-backs or these big double-digit leads. If everybody was to play, would have to lean towards Indiana at that double-digit number.
We have Nets at Miami. Similar thing here. A lot of injuries. Dinwiddie, Dennis Smith Jr., Cam Johnson, Claxton, all out here for Brooklyn. So they're very shorthanded. And for Miami, the big gun, Jimmy Butler, Caleb Martin, they're both questionable. Adebayo missed last game, originally with a questionable tag. He's now upgraded to probable. A couple of things here for Brooklyn. I mean, they made all those acquisitions last year, but it's two dudes they already had. Cam Johnson leading scoring up 33 points per game. And Ben Simmons, who wasn't playing much last year, he's looking back to form a little bit. 10 boards, 8.3 assists. Obviously, the best defensive player there, right there with Bridges on this squad. So, liking what I'm seeing here from the pieces from Brooklyn. Missing 4 guys tonight makes it a little tough to get in on this matchup. Could be a bit of an underlean here. But I will say, if Miami's without Jimmy Butler, makes it more inviting here to get on Brooklyn in this matchup. So got to see what's going on here with some of these injuries.
Yeah, Brooklyn, one of the deeper teams in the NBA. They would have been playing 10 men, a 10-man rotation, but you have Cam Johnson and Nicholas Claxton. They're 2 starters, and they've missed the last couple of games. Now throw in Dinwiddie, and to now a lesser degree, Dennis Smith Jr., who would see some minutes with all these injuries, both out. So you take a team that's deep, all of a sudden, not so much. Heat are hungry for a win. Nets had great success against them. What do we got here for the Nets? Nets won all 3 meetings last year. They won both at Miami. If the Nets were healthy, I wish both teams were healthy. Get a fair number. We'd be all over the Nets. Big injury mismatch. Let's see who plays in this game. But again, it would be Nets and nothing. Not looking to lay the Heat. You don't want to lay the Heat, first of all. Heat and Dallas Mavericks, 2 worst teams against the spread last year at home. Heat don't cover. Dallas doesn't cover either at home. So the higher the number, especially because they're a low-scoring team, the Heat, you just don't want to lay those bigger numbers when you're at home. So Nets are nobody, but again, let's see who's in the lineup. If Butler's in, my hope is that Butler and Bam looks like he's in. The number goes higher than you might want to play with the idea of Brooklyn.
Then we have Charlotte taking a trip to Houston. They're coming off a loss here to Brooklyn on Monday. LaMelo Ball looking good, except for the jump shot. Shooting just 25% to start the season. Still filling in the rest of the stats. Still facilitating everything else. Charlotte pretty good against the spread on the road last season. And then Houston still looking for that first win. 0-3 straight up against the spread to start the year. They were just beat by Golden State. Luckily, they had just 7 turnovers, which is pretty impressive for a Houston team that was right there with Golden State last year as far as worst turnovers on the season, but shot just 38%, and they're scoring just 101 points per game. So Houston, not much offense. Can they get that sorted out? Hornets, success in the matchup. 5 of the last 7 meetings, 6-1 against the spread. And Houston a favorite, which is a rare occurrence. Last year, only a favorite 8 times. They went 3-4-1 against the spread. Obviously, earlier this season, they opened up as a favorite against San Antonio. That was one of the 5-unit bet winners. So rare sight to see Houston as a favorite, typically taking the points against that or nothing.
Yeah, we took this yesterday. DraftKings opened this game at +3. We jumped on +3. Charlotte's had good success in this series. I don't know if Ben gave the stats again. Did you hit those stats with Charlotte, Houston?
Yep, 5-2 straight up, 6-1 against the spread.
So they've had success there. Charlotte finished with a better than 500 against the spread record on the road. Houston finished with a worse than 500 against the spread record at home. My ratings have Charlotte on the road rated just what Houston is at home. Give me the points in what should be a lower scoring game between 2 of the terrible teams. We took +3 on this one.
We have Nuggets at Minnesota. A little bit of a playoff revenge here from the T-Wolves. They got knocked out in the first round last year. They split 2 games in Minnesota in the series, but in the regular season, T-Wolves, they won the last 3 regular season meetings in Minnesota by an average of 19.3 points. So a little bit of home domination in the matchup prior to the playoffs and covering those numbers by a mile. This Denver team, 4-0 out the gates, hasn't missed a beat, just 2-2 against the spread. They took care of business against Utah as far as getting the win, didn't cover. But, man, you just look at the stats. They're doing it on both sides of the ball right now. Scoring efficiency, defensively holding teams to 102 on 43% shooting. Just getting it done on both sides, looking like the best team in the NBA. Only little asterisk going to say is 19-22 on the road last year. How much is that going to be a problem this year? We wait to see. Golden State, it looks like they're just on a kind of this path of proving they can be better on the road this year. So it's a little bit of a stance with them. And hey, when you're the reigning NBA champs, you were so dominant at home. I guess the only thing the Nuggets could improve on was their road success last year. So maybe that's motivation for them as well.
And they started to improve on that home record towards the end of the year and through the playoffs, played better. But Minnesota was still able to manage a split in the playoffs with them. Minnesota does well in this series. This is a division rivalry. Minnesota again did well last year. Grabbed the both home games. Grabbed the both games at Minnesota. Split the two in the playoffs. I want to bet this number. If you follow the show, we love the playoff revenge angle. Just not enough points. Minnesota, they've played one good game. They went to Toronto and they got beat by a team that they never win in Toronto. So that's okay. They play a game against Miami at home, a beat-up Miami team on a back-to-back with no Jimmy Butler, and they look good there, but then go on the road and get slapped down by the Hawks again. Could have been in that look-ahead spot with their playoff revenge spot coming up against Denver but winning only one game against Miami at home without Butler, not showing me enough to just want to take 2 points against the reigning world champs. Bigger number? Yes, I want to bet Minnesota. Minnesota or nobody, but I got the points have got to be right.
Yeah, the size there for Minnesota evidently should be a bit more beneficial in this matchup. That's one thing I'll give Minnesota their credit for. I'm not a fan of the two big men they're rocking with Gobert and Cat, but you look around the league right now, your last three MVPs, Giannis, Embiid, and Jokic, some size around the league. So you're trying to match up with that. We'll see if maybe it helps them in this matchup specifically. Then we have the Bulls at Dallas. Bulls, they're coming off a win at Indiana, 2-2 on the season. Vucevic had a big game. This Dallas team, Luka Doncic, what are you doing? 39 points per game, 11.7 boards, 9.7 assists. The most points through first 3 games of a season since Curry's unanimous MVP season in 2015. So Luka Doncic absolutely killing it to start the year. But Kyrie questionable. Dallas getting it done with the offense, like we talked about. Defense very suspect. They were the NBA worst, 13-26-2 against the spread last season. Can they get it done and cover a number here against Chicago, John?
Yeah, well, the numbers Luka's putting up, he's going to have to continue putting those numbers up if Kyrie's out. He's going to have to continue putting those numbers up anyway because Dallas just doesn't play any defense. Yeah. I like the Bulls in this one. Kyrie missed the last game. I think he misses this game. Not 100% yet, but I think he misses this game. Look, Dallas, I was just talking about it. Dallas, Miami, 2 worst teams against the spread at home. They just don't cover at home. I like what I saw from the Bulls after a couple of ugly games. They go into Indiana. They get a win on the road there. Now they come to Dallas. I believe they've won 6 of their last 7. 1 second. 6 of the last 7 matchups. They match up well. I like the Bulls in this one, plus a handful of points, and really like it if Kyrie's out.
Yeah, one thing I forgot to mention, too, a little bit of a look ahead for Dallas. On Friday, they're going to get the Nuggets in the opener of the play-in tournament. So I don't know how much these NBA players are weighing on the NBA tournament. Obviously, the NBA, Adam Silvers, are all trying to make it seem like it's the next big thing. I'm not buying into it. I don't know if the players are, but hey, getting the NBA champs in the first game of that tournament, I guess it has to mean something, right? So we'll see how they're looking ahead to that one. And we have Grizzlies at Utah. Grizzlies 0-4, 1-3 against the spread, looking rough, real rough. Kennard, he's supposed to return here. They need everybody they can get right now. They were brutal on the road last year, 14-25-2 against the spread. They did get big performances from Bane and Jackson last time. He scored 30, but outside of that, this team's looking brutal. We'll see what they get, scoring just 106 a game right now. And Utah, coming off a loss to Denver, they did cover 1-3 straight up, 2-2 against the spread. You look at the last couple of years, one of those things where Utah, excuse me, with their trades and everything, started trending downward as Memphis started trending upward. But then again, with the recent setbacks Memphis is at, it kind of seems like they're on the same tier again. And the matchup history definitely favors Utah. 9 of the last 11 meetings, including the last 3 9 of the last 11 meetings in Utah, including the last 3 met an average of 7.7 points. A little bit of home ownership here for the Jazz. And as much as Memphis is trending upward, they took a big step back this season. I don't think this is going to be a problem for the Jazz tonight.
Yeah, this is Memphis. Memphis is a mess. They're not playing well on the road. They didn't play well on the road last year. They have one road game so far this year. They get waxed by Wizards. Utah, solid home team, always a solid home team. Finished above 500 last year at home. A great game over a great Clipper team with a big win. So yeah, take that. Take the success in the history, especially at Utah. DraftKings came up with -1 on this game. We laid -1 yesterday. They are sitting at a 2. Mostly 2s, but a couple of 2.5s. This is Utah or nobody.
And we have Kings at Golden State. Just met a few nights ago. Curry and the Warriors get it done in that one. Warriors returning from a 3-0 trip after crushing the Pelicans. Kings, they beat the Lakers in OT on Sunday, but really they lost that night because De'Aaron Fox got hurt with the ankle, so he is going to be missing some time. Apparently the injury is not too severe, but obviously with their young stud point guard, they're going to play very conservative. Weird to bet this game without him. I would say prop bettors look at Malik Monk. I imagine he gets kind of let off the leash tonight. We'll see how that plays out. The Warriors, as far as this matchup at home, a lot of success, 7 of the last 8 meetings, including the playoffs, but just 2-6 against the spread. And now with Fox hurt, you're getting a lot more points in this one. Yes, I don't think you can underestimate how much Fox means to the number, but nonetheless, I think this Kings team is good enough to keep it within 7.5. I mean, you still got a lot of talent on this roster. Kings are nothing here for me in this matchup.
I wish we had Fox. I would have liked to bet here, but you know what? Golden State, this is the big brother, little brother syndrome here.
Oh, yeah.
Golden State's just the big brother. They just beat them. Game 7 last year, they needed to win at Sacramento. So Curry not drops 50, and they just beat them. Playoff revenge, Sacramento, the first time they met this year, can't do it. Golden State just gets it done. Golden State just looked great. 3-game road swing. They couldn't win for shit on the road last year. 3 games, 3 wins, 3 covers, come back home to get Sacramento. The only thing, do they come home with a little letdown off the 3-0 trip and underestimate a Sacramento team without Fox? That 7.5 number always keeps you in play, but I wouldn't be shocked if they beat them by 2 dozen either without Fox. Fox is the catalyst. He's the man on that team. No opinion in this one. Again, would have liked to be on Sacramento with Fox. Without him, I'll lay off it.
Then we have the final game on the card. Clippers at the Lakers. Clippers coming off a back-to-back. They crushed the Magic last night. Obviously still waiting to see what's going on here with who's playing in this one. Hachimura expected to miss another game here for the Lakers. If you guys have watched NBA basketball at all the last couple of years, you guys should know Clippers own LA. They have now won 11 straight meetings, 10-1 against the spread, all 4 last year by an average of 11 points. So not just beating them by double digits consistently, and now you're getting a lot of points here with the Clippers. Waiting to see if these guys are playing on the back-to-back, but nonetheless, I mean, even if it's just Westbrook on a revenge tour and he's missing the big guns with them, that's a lot of points in an ownership matchup.
Absolutely own them. This game at 6 points, if Kawhi and PG are in, I usually make 5 units as my highest bet. I would be betting even higher than that game. This is how ridiculous this game number is. Clippers are back-to-back. They both play in LA. They both play in the excuse me, guys. They both play in the same building. If you're a Had to Beat the Bookie member, guys, and you go by my ratings, so in this particular game, you're going to take both teams' home ratings. They're both playing at home. Now, more fans the season ticket holders for the Lakers, that's the home team, but there's no other edge with the home team. Clippers have played 3 games at home so far this year. Granted, not top talent. It was Portland. It was San Antonio last night. Orlando on a back-to-back. But they've won each of those 3 games by at least 12 points or more, and I think they're averaging 24 a game. Lakers, couple of home games, 2 struggle jobs. Same Orlando Magic the night before, and then the Suns. But the Suns without Booker and Beal. Yep. The way the Clippers have dominated this series, my numbers have the teams rated the same. Give Lakers a little bit of an edge for playing last night. So I already bet this game for 3 units when the line came out 6, because even if one of Paul George or Kawhi Leonard sat, 3 is the top number I could make it. 6 is a number that if both of them are out, that would be the number because they're so short-handed already with the trade. Harden definitely not going to be available, nor will PJ Tucker. But this game cannot be this high. Really thought both guys would be giving an effort. We've talked so much about how the NBA wants the players to play and how Kawhi and PG. I mean, I saw an interview, Jerry West, I think it was with, he's sitting down with Paul George, and it just tells him straight to his face, I just can't believe that you and Kawhi can't play like in all the games, or So I think they're almost embarrassed enough that they've got to go out there and play. They played 33 minutes each last night. They cruised at the end of the game. They didn't have to jump on a plane to do any travel. They're coming back to the same thing. If you're an NBA player, how can you not play in this game? Again, this is the battle for LA. Only thing I'm thinking in this game, again, we monitor lines from first thing in the morning, and we've showed you before, guys, Don Best is how we monitor all the lines. So when they send out information, that moves lines. So when they sent out James Harden will not play today, when that became a blurb, that's when the line moved. Now, if the line is moving because of James Harden, we're going to double up and bet even more on the Clippers if these guys are playing. So, again, excuse my little outburst, but if these guys don't play, just can't see it. You really can't see it. 61 years old, I was tired as shit from a long weekend yesterday. I went to the fucking gym for 45 minutes and lifted. These guys are the best athletes in the world in their 20s. Play fucking back-to-back days. But love, and I can't undersell this enough, if they both play and you can – right now the line's going up to 7. If you could get 6, make this the biggest bet of your NBA season this season.
Yep, and we'll wait to see what's going on with that. Obviously, our members, you guys will be updated with that information of if we're increasing units and if those guys are in the lineup, and that's what's going to dictate that game and later on action. There's injuries across the board, so if you guys want to be updated on that information, you guys know where to sign up, howtobeatthebookie.com, or download the How to Beat the Bookie app. It's just we got NBA focus today. We got a lot of, obviously, football going on tomorrow and a big weekend coming up with the slate play-in tournament. Interested to see how serious these guys take it, if it actually means anything to anyone, if there's a bit of a playoff atmosphere to it, who knows? And, a lot we're going to find out with the NBA coming up on Friday, John.
So, what do we got? Do we get the play – What are they calling this, Foss? The play-in tournament?
The NBA in-season tournament, the NBA Cup. Sorry, I called play-in tournament.
This isn't soccer. We live in America. I don't get it. I don't think it's going to be any different than anything else. If these games count for the regular season. We'll see. We'll see how they play it. Again, we're at a loss here. We don't know what the NBA players are doing anymore. They tell us that they're not going to rest them, and the first back-to-back you've got stars are sitting out. So let's see what happens with Kawhi and Harden today, guys. Again, you want to be a How to Beat the Bookie member, because as soon as that info comes up, we're going to get you that info. So regardless, if they're in, you want to jump on this number will fly. The shops are just chomping at the bit right now, waiting for the info to come out on this game. So I'm hoping that the info of Harden being out has pushed the game Harden, which let's hope they're playing him. That's all I can tell you. Other than that, we'll see. The play-ins is we'll see how they're taking it, if they're taking it any different. I don't think they will. I don't know what the so there's a couple extra bucks these guys are getting.
Yeah, I think it might be more to some of these smaller market teams with guys on less big contracts, younger players. I mean, you get $500,000 if you end up winning it. So maybe some of those smaller teams might care, but outside of that, I mean. What are you going to do? Motivate this Clippers team where they've all surpassed $200 million contracts? Where are they going to get motivated? This?
LeBron's a billionaire.
Yeah.
You're going to give him another $500,000. I'm sure he'd like to have another $500,000. Don't think that's going to make him play 40 minutes a game as opposed to the 28, 30 that he's playing. Let's see how many minutes LeBron plays tonight. This is another good sign.
You don't think that an NBA Cup trophy would put him over Jordan?
Yeah, no. Are they going to count that as a ring or just?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, hey, look, he's never getting over Jordan anyway. Nobody's ever getting over Jordan. I hate to do this because you can't compare athletes from different eras because each era the athletes get better, and that's undeniable. I don't care who wants to hear it. If you took Babe Ruth and transported him into today, he bet $180 against the pitches of today. So there's just no question about it. So is LeBron? Of course, he's better, bigger, stronger than Michael Jordan is. But in his era, there's no matching what Michael Jordan did. If he wasn't retired, they were winning the championship. Well, and he was the MVP. He was the MVP before the season started. Just a different type, and it was a different era also. But yeah, there's no replacing Michael Jordan. Just like, how do you replace the numbers that Wilt Chamberlain put up? He scored 100 in a game. Okay, but again, that was a different era. He was a man playing with boys at that time. So everything's accordingly. Could he? Of course, he could play in today's game, but he would never put a buck on against today's athletes. So I'm not one of those old guys to say, in my day, that's just not it. Hey, the guys get bigger, stronger, they train harder, they eat better. It's just a whole different world. You can't match up different eras. So let's see what LeBron wants to do. What he's doing is a miracle. 39 now, ridiculous. 39 years old. Again, would they talk about that minutes crunch? 28-30. Supposedly they want to keep him on. They did that the first night when we needed him to play more minutes. He didn't. The next couple of nights he played more, and we'll see what happens tonight. But yeah, him and AD could play 40 minutes tonight if Kawhi and PG are in. Expect the Clippers to make it 12 in a row. And if they don't win outright with those guys in the lineup, they will stay under the half a dozen, or even it's up to 7 now.
You guys will be updated if those guys are in or out of the lineup. Appreciate you tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe below. Let's make some money, John.
Let's make some money.